Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Spencer and welcome to another short little demo video showing off a new circuit board that we've developed exclusively through HobbyLink International, in this case HLIFX 002. Um, the second board we've produced at HLI, our next stepping stone board as it were in size and complexity, generally and gradually working our way up to bigger, better, and more complex lighting circuits. In this case, for this demo video, this board is going to be driving a Klingon bird of prey circuit. Um, this particular circuit is near and dear to me. At the end of last year, end of 2020, I built an AMT Klingon bird of prey. I designed my own custom circuit and whatnot to put into it. It came out really awesome. I really like it. 7+ months been going strong without any problems or issues. So when we decided to develop these HLIFX boards, it was pretty obvious from the beginning that we were going to include my Klingon Bird of Prey circuit somewhere along the line, and it just so happens we can do that with FX002. So I'm going to show you the demo of the effects for that. But before I do, let me just give you a quick look at the board itself. There's the top-down view. It's got all the necessary circuitry so that all you have to do is wire up your LEDs as per the instructions, supply power, and the board will immediately start to run. Let me turn the board over for you. Show you the underside, which is where all the good stuff is. Got the HobbyLink International font there. You also have your lighting and effects pins, as you can hopefully see, labeled A through E. Not all of our designs and our control setups will use all 5 of these pins. The Bird of Prey does not use all 5 of these pins. It uses pins A through D. You also have VN and ground, which are your power and ground connections. The boards can be run at either 9-volt or 12-volt DC power. It is compatible for both. The plus 5-volt pin, that's the same as the E pin. They're not used in the Bird of Prey circuit. You can leave them disconnected and not have to worry about them. We don't need the E pin for the Bird of Prey, and the 5-volt pin is really a placeholder. It's meant for future designs for certain kinds of input devices and whatnot where we might need to make use of 5 volts. So that's sort of preparation and planning for the future rather than use in the Bird of Prey. So those 2 pins you can leave disconnected and simply not have to worry about. The board itself is not that big. If I put this here on my cutting mat, it's about 1 inch tall by about 5/8 of an inch wide. I believe it comes out to about 25.5 millimeters to something like 16 millimeters for those of you who are interested in the metric. So if you're concerned about being able to put this in your project, that's how big it actually is. So what I want to do now is set up the demo showing the effects for the Klingon Bird of Prey circuit. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. And I am back. I've set up the Bird of Prey demo circuit here, just on my breadboard that I use for design and prototyping work for the HLIFX boards. And I have other demo circuits here, but that's just to not have to fiddle around with as much connections and disconnecting for these short little videos. What I have here is the 002 board, just jumpered over to the breadboard. This is where, of course, you would have your wires soldered to all the various LEDs of your circuit, and the instructions will go into detail on how to actually wire up the LEDs to drive the effects. I have 3 LEDs serving as stand-ins for the 3 different lighting effects, as well as a momentary push button that is normally open, push to close. So with that, let me go ahead and supply power to the board. In this case, I am using 9-volt DC power. Pay no mind to this LED, that's just to let me know that the breadboard itself has power. But the effects board itself can run on both 9 volt and 12 volt DC power. It is both 9 volt and 12 volt tolerant. As long as you don't go above 12 and you don't go much below 9, the board should run just fine. So first off, let me talk about this effect right here. This is an engine effect, and if I take the scale modeler's secret weapon when it comes to lighting, which is fiber fill, and I just push this over it for some diffusion, you will see that we have a pulsation. So this represents the pulsing effect of the engines. This is the effect I put in my bird of prey, which I thought turned out really, really awesome. And it's to try and sort of mimic that pulsing effect that you see for the filming model in the films, right? If you watch Star Trek 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which is why I sometimes call the movies the Bird of Prey era, you will see there's pulsations to the engines. Now, the speed of the pulsations, the intensities, that changes from film to film. A lot of it is due to the um, special effects, post-processing work and whatnot. Um, but we decided to replicate that here. So what you have is a 6-second overall slow ramp up and down in brightness, and on top of that are little half-second pulses. So it will swell in brightness up and down and have these little pulses on top of it. We think it's a good effect. We like it, and we think you will as well. The other thing is that you can hook up multiple LEDs to this channel, to this effect. You can also hook up LED tape if you want. Again, the instructions go into detail on that. So you can get as much light out as you need for those engines, whether you use the kit supplied clear part from AMT, or if you decide to spring for the green strawberry resin and photo etch detail upgrade set. The point is you have options to get as much light out as you need. We also have our two weapon effects, which in this case, we have a photon torpedo, and in this one we have the disruptor cannons or plasma cannons, or however you want to say it, and both are controlled via the same momentary switch. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to attempt to do, is not get my big clumsy hand in the way, get my finger around the camera, and if I just push this button. 3, 2, 1. You see we have the photon torpedo effect, which is a ramp, a quick flash, and a ramp back down. And you can use a red LED like I am here. You can use a green LED, which is a bit more canon, I would say. You could use white, you could use blue, hot pink, turquoise, whatever you want. You can also hook multiple LEDs in parallel, or hook up multiple LEDs to this channel. For the AMT kit, you really shouldn't have to. I used a 3mm LED like this one in my build. You could probably squeeze a 5mm in there. But if you're working with a bigger kit, like a garage kit or a 3D print or some studio scale kit, you could hook up multiple LEDs for this effect to get as much light out as you need. And then finally, we come to the disruptors. If I press and hold this button for 1.5 seconds, so here we go, 3, 2, 1, we get flashes. These are randomized flashes. The amount of time between flashes and during a flash is random, and it will fire for about 8 seconds or so. So as long as I push and hold for 1.5 seconds, we will get disruptor fire. I'm using a super bright white or super bright green LED for this, but just to help sort of overemphasize the effect a little bit. And both weapons can actually be fired simultaneously. What you have to do is get the disruptors going, and then once you do, Then you can just press and fire the photon torpedo. And I can usually get about 2 shots off before the disruptors decide to cut back. And that is the Klingon bird of prey. You can also hook up multiple LEDs to this, which you definitely will want to because you need to get you need to have at least 2 LEDs to light up your 2 sets of disruptor cannons. You can hook up more if you want. If you want to try to put a surface mount LED, a wee little teeny tiny one, and inside every single gun barrel you could. How I did it and how I would recommend it is to use a single bulb and run fiber optics out of each barrel appropriately. But you can hook up multiple LEDs if you need to. So that is the Klingon bird of prey. I do want to again reiterate that the circuit itself is relatively simple to hook up and use, but keep in mind that the kit itself, actually modifying the kit parts and rebuilding the disruptor cannons and everything you need to get the lighting in, is definitely something for a more advanced modeler, someone who has a little bit of experience and skill in modifying parts, rebuilding parts, a little bit of scratch building, digging out trenches and whatnot to run your wiring. But if you're thinking about building a bird of prey in the short or long-term future, and you want to put some fairly comprehensive lighting into it, we ask that you consider this particular board. We think you'll enjoy it. I put a remarkably similar circuit to this in my bird of prey, and 7 months on, it still runs like a charm, and I enjoy it. So uh, if you think you can use this in your build, stop by the HobbyLink International shop. And if we have it, then you can buy it. So with that being said, I will call an end to this demo. Until the next one, take care, stay safe, and happy modeling.